Good afternoon, Kylie Bertucci, Stampin' Up demonstrator here in Australia with you. And I am looking forward to having a chat to you about, it's my 25th broadcast today. That's exciting. That's on my demonstrator training page, so that's very good. Milestone, celebrate success. So that's lots of videos to look back on if you've missed some of the last videos. Hey Angela, good to see you. Thanks for joining me on my last video as well. I was very happy with how that turned out. I actually didn't practice it, but I was very happy with the colors and the layout. So excellent. Good blogging for tonight. Hi Rosemary, good to see you. Thanks for jumping in and joining me live. Hello again, Linda. Good to see you. I think this will be a really good one today. There's a few people that have the belief that we shouldn't really focus on our mistakes or things that we do wrong. So it's up to you. Thank you, Michelle. New hair. Hi, Samantha. But I think we learn a lot from it, and the information that I'll go through today will help you to see why it's so good to identify a lot of those mistakes that we make. Hey, Faith, good to see you. Thanks for jumping in on the Random Act of Kindness group. I just saw that you've joined that. Thank you, Rosalie. Yes, I'm very happy. I've got a very good hairdresser. She's the bomb. Hey, Glenda. Hey, Trisha. Great to see you both here. How exciting to have ones even from Canada visiting. I love that it's we can connect with demonstrators from all around the world and help each other out. Jessica's here. Hey, Jessica. I'm going to be hanging with Jessica in Thailand in July. Looking forward to that so much. It's going to be great spending time with you and hubby. So we've got a really nice talk today. I'll jump right into it so that we can, and if anyone jumps in, I'm not being rude by not acknowledging them. I'm just trying to get the talk done. Hey Tina, good to see you. But I really liked this one about identifying and learn from your mistakes. Hi Jennifer, good to see you. Because really the only way that we learn from a mistake, first of all, is to admit that we've made it. And unfortunately in the world that we live in here, oh, that's exciting, Glenda. I look forward to it. Make sure you come and say hello to me. I'm so bad. When I see the profile pictures, I'm like, yeah, I'll recognize them. And then I'm like, oh, do I know? Who are you? It's so bad. I need to watch more videos too. That helps. But yeah, I definitely think that for us to learn from mistakes, we have to take it on board and say, yeah, I did that. I own it, and to say, yes, that was me. I don't do that. I blame Jessie instead. Sometimes. But no, it is a big thing in business. And I think not expecting perfection of yourself too is really important as you're growing and as you're learning. Particularly because we have strengths in different areas as Stampin' Up demonstrators. Some are really good with workshops, some are really good online, some are confident with computers, others aren't. And we can sometimes compare ourselves to and feel like the ones that are doing well just because it comes easy to them or it's natural. So we're in this constant fear. We compare ourselves and we also are in fear of making mistakes. So I think that what's really interesting is saying to yourself that it's okay to make a mistake. I think it was the one that came up. I don't know her name. I've forgotten her name, but I will look it up. But the creator of Spanx, I was watching one of her videos, and it was really interesting that her father every day used to say, what mistakes did you make today? Or what did you do today that was a failure of some sort? And he would celebrate their failures, his children's failures, rather than their success, because what he wanted to do was to help them to see that it's okay to get things wrong, that it's okay, that like it's actually part of our everyday life, that things aren't going to be smooth sailing and it's not necessarily going to be amazing success every day. And the thing that's really interesting is that we learn more from our mistakes than we do from our success. If things go really well and you are succeeding and you're kicking goals and things are easy, we don't get to grow as a person and in our the most important thing that we can grow in is in our qualities. So our humility and, being self-sacrificing. I think as a Stampin' Up demonstrator, having a team and having customers, you have to be willing to give. You can't expect everything to come to you. And like, I think the outside looking in, success can look like that everything is being given to these successful demonstrators. But a lot of these successful demonstrators, if you talk to them, like Patty Bennett, for instance, says that she works 70 hours a week and that only recently has just started asking for help. And that's huge. That's a huge amount of time and a huge amount of giving. And she was saying how if she goes on a group page and she notices that people aren't commenting on someone's post, she'll go and comment. And this constant thing I'm seeing with a lot of the top demonstrators around the world, the Global 100, the ones that are doing really well are the ones that are giving, and the ones that are not waiting to receive and don't expect things to be given to them on a platter. They work really hard and they're humble people. They're willing to serve and willing to give of themselves. So this can be a real sort of trap or a mindset that we have to change, that success means it will all just come to us, it'll all just fall in our lap, and that people will come to us and there's very little work to be done. And that's so untrue. The more that is expected of you, the more work that you have, and the more that you need to give and find a way to give the best that you can within your limits. So, and it's challenging. There's a lot to learn. There's a lot to learn how much is enough, learning modesty, learning priorities, putting your family first. So all of these can be really challenging. But one of the things that is really important, and it can be difficult at times for us to do because it's not our natural inclination, particularly when we're trying to sort of not put us, well, it's kind of like putting ourselves, our best foot forward. We want people to see us in the best light. And if we're working with other demonstrators, I know I've been part of design teams or blogs or things like that, and I've worked with demonstrators that I really admire, and I've got a link wrong or I've done something wrong, and you just want the ground to swallow you up, because the last thing that you want this demonstrator to think is that you don't have it together. But one of the things that I've learnt is to just own it and own your mistakes. And one of the things that is really important is to just not start blaming something or someone. And I'm very good at blaming Jessie, but that's a bit of fun and games. I'm always going, Jessie. Jessie's my assistant, in case you don't know. But it is really important that when something comes up, and it's happened with the last tutorial bundle that I did, I missed one of the girls from the bundle and I felt so awful. And I was thinking to myself, can I just put it back on and then just put the file back and no one will know? And I'm like, no, that's awful, because it could have gone out. It could have been sent to people. I really need to apologize and to fix this. And so I made sure that I personally messaged her, and then I also put it in front of the group, my bad, I've done this big boo-boo, and owned it. And you learn from that. The next time I'm going to make sure that I check that tutorial bundle really well and make sure that everyone is in there and not one person is missing. But when you actually stand up and honestly say that this is my mistake and I'm responsible, and you can even do this with your family. I think with your children, this is such an important thing to teach them, that don't be afraid, like don't be in fear of your mistakes. If anything, acknowledge them and own them and be proud that you're going to move on and learn from them. Like, don't hide them and bury them. If we get into that pattern of being in fear, then it can actually stunt us so much that we won't want to grow at all, because we're afraid of that fear that could happen or might happen or most likely will happen. So by admitting the mistake, even if it's privately to yourself, this means that you can actually learn, and it's also moving the focus away from blaming, assignment to someone else, and then you actually get understanding from it. Because wise people will actually admit their mistakes easily. So getting into a practice of, you know, you could just practice with little things at home, you know, with your hubby. My mistake, I did that. With the kids, my mistake, I did that. I take responsibility. That's just teaching them really valuable things anyway, but it's also helping you practice those muscles, stretch those muscles of accountability and responsibility. And also, when you do this, that's when you start to grow. It's only when you start to admit that you have done something wrong or have done a mistake that then you can learn from it, admit it, and grow from it. And also, it doesn't hold you. The fear, it releases that fear. So that by releasing that fear and admitting it, it's springboarding you to the next thing. So then you don't have to be afraid. You're like, you know what? I can take on the next challenge. It's all going to be okay, because what's the worst thing that could happen? You know, I've made mistakes before. I said, sorry, we moved on. You know, I fixed it. I learnt from it. All good. There's nothing to be afraid of here. So yeah, there's a really interesting cultural aspect too with mistakes and failure. We've been brought up that this is something shameful, and that's why I was bringing up the lady from Spanx, what her father did for his children, is he turned around by celebrating their failures and their mistakes. He actually made it so that they weren't afraid of failure anymore. It was like something to actually celebrate and acknowledge. And he praised their failures and how they learnt and admitted it, even though they didn't necessarily say, oh, this is what we learnt from it. But just even openly being able to speak about their failures and be okay about it, that's such a big thing to unlock and release. And it's not cultural at all to be okay to admit your failures. So what we tend to do, we feel guilty, and so we do whatever we can to avoid failure. And even the way the whole school system set up, you know, we're graded A, B, C, D, E, F, you know, like, are you a failure? You know, there's so many things, like even reviews with work, you know, again, it's all about your mistakes equal your failure. So we're sort of put into this mold that mistakes are something really, really bad and could actually be detrimental to us, when in actual fact, the mistakes are what make us grow. And there's something that we need to invite and something we need to acknowledge to be able to move on. So yeah, the big thing now is, I guess, you know, it says that the sense, I did a little bit of research, so I'm looking at my notes if you're wondering what I'm looking at, but it says that this sense of shame combined with an inevitability, because this is going to happen, we're going to have setbacks. So it says, when attempting difficult things, it explains why most people give up on their goals, because they're not prepared for the mistakes and failures that they'll face on their way for what they want. So if you want to be in the Global 100, or if you want an incentive trip, or if you know, would like more customers, or if you would like team members, there are going to be setbacks. It's not always going to be rosy. It's not always going to be perfect. And that can create fear. But in order to get those exciting things that are so worthwhile, you have to work out how you can face those fears, because it's just so worth it. Once you grow, like one thing I say to Bruno, it's been a really exciting thing to see the things that have happened Stampin' Up wise, you know, different achievements and different awards that I've been given. But the actual better thing that has come from it is the strength of character that I've had to learn to be able to get there. The determination that I didn't know I even had in myself, and being able to put myself out there to a place of really, like, real vulnerability, that I don't feel comfortable. And that's a really good thing, because that's when we grow, and that's when we change as people and become better people too. So don't be fearful. It's really exciting. And, you know, it's a very raw and confronting journey. But if you give up on it when things get tough, then you miss out on the best bits. The best bits are the stuff that kind of make you feel really uncomfortable and hurt a bit. Because once you get over them, it's such an accomplishment, more of an accomplishment than the, you know, awards and the walks and the, you know, those things that you can cope with, personality challenges or you know, issues that come up with other demonstrators, team members, you know, those things are going to happen, but how you handle them changes who you are as a person and helps you grow as well, get stronger and more confident too. So what's missing in many people's beliefs about success is the fact that the more challenging the goal, the more frequent and difficult setbacks will be. The larger your ambitions, the more dependent you will be on your ability to overcome and learn from your mistakes. So the more that you put in and the more that you want, the more you've got to be aware that these things are going to happen, but it's okay. It's a good thing. It's a really good thing to go through. So, yeah, it's really interesting how it is definitely a cultural thing. And, you know, I'd love to hear from some of you as to how you feel towards mistakes and whether you have a fear of failure and how that fear has stopped you from doing certain things. I think we sort of maybe for me it could be like a negative comment that someone says on the internet, or a negative comment from a fellow demonstrator that can really kick you in the guts so hard. And oh, I thank you, Ellen. New hairdo today. But I would love to hear yeah, what you have done to either overcome them, or maybe you haven't overcome them and you would like to learn how to do that. I would really love, I think the more that we share with each other, and it's something that I want to do more often, is to hear from you guys after these videos, just to see how you would like to move forward from a lot of these fears. And so culturally, it is definitely a really scary thing to fail. We've been taught that from childhood. We've been taught that from our parents, and they were just trying to protect us. But it does actually stop you from doing a lot of things because of that fear. So yeah, this one, I really, really love this point. So for anyone who never discovers a deeper self-identity based not on lack of mistakes, but on courage, compassionate intelligence, commitment, and creativity, life is a scary place made safe only by never getting into trouble, never breaking rules, and never taking the risks that their hearts tell them that they need to take. So it says learning from mistakes requires 3 things. It says putting yourself in situations where you can make interesting mistakes, so something a little bit different to what you normally do. Having the self-confidence to admit them, and being courageous about making changes. So it's a really interesting thing. Laura says she has a massive fear of failure and something that she wants to work on this year. Oh, I'm sorry to hear I'm dropping out, Rosalie. Maybe go out and then come back in again. Because on my end, it's saying that that there's not a weak connection. Yeah, and I think a lot of people can relate to you, Laura. I think there's a lot of us that you get to a point, particularly with Stamping Up, where say, you know, you win an award or something's happened, and it can actually be a really exciting time, but it can also be very confronting, because then you have to be aware that more people are watching you, more eyes are on you, there can be more criticism. Obviously, there's a lot of beautiful, positive comments, but it can only take one little bit of criticism and it can just throw you completely out because you just don't expect it. Suzanne, when we poo-poo someone else's success, it trains our subconscious that we shouldn't go there. Wow, that's a really profound one, Suzanne. I love that. Celebrate their success and our subconscious will want to have that too. I love that, because that's very true, and it's a big thing in Australia, and I don't know if it's the same in other countries, but we have what's called tall poppy syndrome here, where if a poppy is taller than the other poppies, we like to chop them down. It's like, who do you think you are? We're going to chop you down to size. And it's a really, really, it's like, you know, cultural, you know, in our culture, that if someone is too successful, you are so deep, Suzanne. I love it. It's my type of talking. But it is very interesting from a psychological point of view, seeing how, you know, what we think and what we say. Like I said to a friend the other day, that person really, what did I say? That person really scares me. And my friend stopped me and she said, why would you say that out loud? That is so like bad to say out loud, you need to rephrase that out loud. And so I had to say, that person doesn't make me feel comfortable. Or no, it was even different to that. It was a really, really interesting thing that what you verbally or mentally think about success, your view of someone else, whatever you say, whatever comes out of your mouth, the minute it comes out of your mouth or it's in your head, you are creating that belief system. And if it's a negative thing, that can be really difficult to undo. So instead of then having, like when that person comes near me, instead of feeling fear, I can change that to feeling, compassion for that person. Like, I feel really bad for that person that they are going through that, situation, that they feel that they have to cause so much trouble or something like that. And it just changes the way you view them. And it gives you more confidence too. You're not in fear of this person coming and getting you. So I think another really good thing, and this is something that I use a lot for me, it's the way that I have coped with a lot of things that fail or things that don't go my way. And that's humor and courage. So humor is really good for me. I just have to realize I just need to laugh at myself sometimes and not take yourself too seriously. If you take yourself too seriously, if you feel that you need to be, this standard or, this type of person, if you reach this goal, you're not being true to yourself. You need to be yourself. You need to be who you are deep down. And if that means vulnerabilities and insecurities and imperfections, like I keep admitting I'm not an organized person, and it frees me from having to stress out too bad that, things are not going to be spot on when I do my videos. And that's okay. You know what? I'm just happy I got my video done. So it unlocks that fear that I have, that I have to be, a certain type of person. I have to be completely clean in my room, or I have to do the. Who says I have to do any of that? I can unlock and I can be whoever I want to be. As long as I'm getting what I need to get done, great. And of course, I'm going to keep improving. I'm going to keep changing. I know that that's a weakness for me, but it's something that I'll probably have to work on my entire life and I still won't get it right. So that's why I ended up getting Jessie, because I know where my weaknesses are and I know where I need the help. And she's just brilliant with organization. Same with Bruno. I'm very, very happy to have those type of people around me, because they give me where I'm weak. They make me strong. So yeah, it's just admitting it. We can't do it all. We are only human and we've got lives to live. I still want to live life. I want to enjoy life. I don't want to, live to work. I want to work so that I can live. And so it's really important to find how you can get that balance as well and admit that. But, it says here, and I really liked these points too. It says that no amount of analysis can replace your confidence in yourself. So when you've made a mistake, especially a visible one that impacts other people, it's natural to question your ability to perform next time. But you must get past your doubts. The best you can do is study the past, practice for the situations you expect, and get back in the game. Your studying of the past should help broaden your perspective. You would want to be aware of how many other smart, capable, well-meaning people have made similar mistakes to the one you made and went on to make even bigger mistakes, actually successes in the future. So the amazing thing is that it's very true. Oh, Angel, watching you has given me the freedom to be real and not get so anxious about perfection. Yeah, it's true. All of us I think we watch a few videos and there are ones out there that are naturally perfect and are naturally amazing at what they do. But I just know deep down that that's not me. I've got to keep it real, and real is chaos. I'm Chaos Kylie, and that's me keeping it real. And, I'm constantly still working on it. It's not that I want to accept it, but I don't want to allow it for me to miss out on things because I'm waiting for it to be perfect, because I doubt it ever will be with me. It'll never be spot on. So I've just got to keep moving. Like it said there, get back in the game. Do not leave it. If you're pushing to make Stampin' Up a business for you, if you're pushing to make it's something that you want to earn an income from, don't give up. Do not give up. Keep yourself in the game. Don't be afraid of failure. We've all done it. If you talk to top demonstrators around the world, and you know, the beautiful Aim for Alaska group that I've organised, it's helped me to see even more so that we all have our fears. We all have, you know, insecurity. It's just a typical thing with most women that we all have this. But it's the ones that overcome it that get to see the success. It's the ones that face it and challenge it and push themselves that are the ones that see success. So don't give up, because then you miss out on the best bits of the training that you're going to receive from being a leader. So one way that you know that you've reached a healthy place is in your sense of humor. So it might take a few days, but eventually you'll see comedy in what has happened. When your friends tell stories of the mistakes that they've made, you laugh, right? You don't look at them and go, that was a really bad mistake. You just laugh with them. You know, you can, a few months or weeks later, you're like, that was hilarious. But it's the same as when you laugh at your friends, you're like, oh, that was so funny. Well, why not do the same thing for yourself and just go, oh, that was so silly. I can't believe I did that. Make a joke about it. Because then you know that you've actually accepted it. And you're no longer judging yourself. You're no longer looking at it from a harsh point of view. We are our own worst critics, and it's so dangerous to judge ourselves by what we think others might be saying. Because someone's always going to have something to say. That is going to happen. Some people won't like my videos. That's okay. I'm not going to change how I do my videos to please someone else. They have to be me. They have to be real. They have to be something I enjoy, or I won't be able to continue making them every week. I'll get tired. I'll become bitter, and you feel like a puppet. You're like, I'm just doing this because someone else is telling me I have to. And that's a really bad place to come from. Your creativity, things that you want to share need to come from somewhere really beautiful inside you, and that will only happen if it's real. It won't last if you're doing it for other reasons other than what you want inside. So, it says reaching this kind of perspective, the humor perspective, is very important in avoiding future mistakes, because humor loosens up your psychology and it prevents you from obsessing too much about the past. Do you ever obsess? Do you say something and then you come home and you're like, oh my goodness, why did I say that? That was a really dumb thing to say. You know, like I never ever go back to my videos and say, why did I say, like I just laugh at myself. I'm just like, oh my goodness, you're such an idiot, Kylie. And not to, you know, be mean to myself, but it's like I just don't take myself seriously, that I would replay what I've done and question why I said something, or why did you talk like that? Yeah, it's like, whatever, it's done. And each time I do a video, I grow in confidence and I grow in what I want to say and how I say it. And yeah, it just means that I'm not being stuck in the past, and I'm not being stuck in my head saying negative talk. You know, get rid of the negative talk. It's so pointless. There's just no reason for it. So there's a saying, a man fears the tiger that bit him last instead of the tiger that will bite him next. Maria, consistency and perseverance is the way to go with anything in life. And it's so true, isn't it, Maria? But it's amazing how we know what to do. It's the same with losing weight. I know what to do. I know exactly what to do to lose weight. I know I need to go to the gym. But what is driving me to get to the gym? What is driving me to have perseverance? What is my why? You know, what do I want to gain? What is preventing me? What are my fears? Where do my fears stem from? Are they childhood? Are they, you know, the way my mother talked to me, the way my father talked to me? Is it my relationships with other people? Like there's so much to unlock in our head to understand where it is that our fear lies, why we can't get the consistency and perseverance. Because it's easy to say, yes, I'll just keep doing that same thing. But if there's something that blocks us every time we get consistent, we can get to a certain point where like we're getting further each time, but there's something that always blocks us, and that's the stuff that we have to undo and work out. What is it exactly that is stopping us, and what do we need to work on in our heads, in our heart, in our mind, to let go of all of that yucky stuff. And it could be just, you know, having a sense of humor. It could be going back to our childhood and seeing how things made us feel and letting go of it, letting go of that talk, letting go, because it's just our parents learnt it from their parents and they learnt it from their parents, and it shouldn't have a hold on who we are today. We're different people now. We're our own individuals, and letting go and working through all of that will then enable us to move forward in the future and to have that success. So yes, that one, yeah, it says it's easy to make new mistakes by spending too much energy protecting against the previous ones. So we want to make sure that we don't dwell too much in the past, because you got to kind of go, okay, I've dealt with it. Yep, move on, but leave it, drop it, go. Don't look back. If you look back for too long or look sideways, I'm always telling my Crazy Crafters team, do not look sideways. Don't look at what other people are doing. Don't look at your competition. Don't look at, you know, that all those things just create fear. And then you go, well, they're already getting success, so I'm not going to get success. You know, that's really dangerous place to get in. You know, there's a lot of people like Oprah, you know, there was other people doing talk shows at the time. What if Oprah said, well, there's too many talk show hosts, I'm not going to do talk shows? It's like, what? It doesn't make sense. You look at any business, there's always been someone that's done it before. So, you know, there's only one you, as Marie Forleo says, you're unique. So there's only one you. So the important lesson in all of mistake making is to trust that while mistakes are inevitable, if you can learn from the current one, you'll also be able to learn from the future ones. So no matter what happens tomorrow, you'll be able to get value from it and apply it to the day after that. Progress won't be in a straight line, but if you keep learning, you will have more successes than failures. And the mistakes you make along the way will help you to get where you want to go. And I know, looking at my Stampin' Up past, a lot of the big mistakes that I made that really frustrated me at the time helped me to change my processes, to become a lot clever the way that I do things. And then that has helped me have greater success in the future, because I was able to mainstream a lot of my processes to a better system. If I didn't do the other system, I wouldn't have learnt how to do the better one. So it can help propel you, which is awesome. Thanks for sharing my video, Kayla. That's lovely. And please feel free to share my videos. Feel free to subscribe. I think you can subscribe to my videos somewhere. I'm not sure where with your view, but yeah, please share. I love it when you can share. So the learning from mistakes checklist, this is a really good one. So accepting responsibility makes learning possible. Don't equate making mistakes with being a mistake. We are going to make mistakes, but don't own it as your identity. You can't change mistakes, but you can choose how to respond to them. Growth starts when you start seeing room for improvement. We all need to improve. We all need to grow. So that's great. You want to continue to grow from that. Work to understand why it happened and what the factors were. What information could have avoided the mistake? What small mistakes in sequence contributed to the bigger mistake? That's a really interesting one. You know, what led up to that big mistake? Are there alternatives that you should have considered but you didn't? Yeah, are you listening to other people? I know for me, you know, I've had a few decisions that I wanted to make for my team, and team members haven't agreed with it. And I was like, I can't believe they're not agreeing with it. I'm trying to help them here. And I could get all emotional and take it personally. But instead I thought, no, hang on, I've got to step back here and listen to what this team member is telling me. And I'm so grateful I did. As much as it frustrated me at the time, it could have been a really big mistake. But because I listened and I took note, even though it was affecting me emotionally and I felt hurt by it, I suddenly was able to step back and look at it from their point of view and go, you know what, you're right. I think I just about made this team member fall off her chair because I had been nutting it out for probably an hour or two, and then I'm like, you know what, you're actually right. And it was the best decision that I could have made. It could have changed a lot of things. So listen to other people too, and your team members. Don't think because you're the team leader that your team members are below you. They're not below you. We're all peers. We're all just cheering each other on. That's the only difference. So listen to them and let them support you as much as you support them. You know, they're there for you as well. That's what the beautiful thing about growing a team is. My leaders are some of my best mentors. They're brilliant. So how do you think your behavior should or would change if you were in a similar situation again? Work to understand the mistake until you can make fun of it, or not want to kill others that make fun. Someone's laughing at you, like, I'm going to kill you. And don't overcompensate. The next situation won't be the same as the last. So don't think that by preempting it, it's going to save you. You're just going to have to adapt to each situation as it comes. So I really hope that that helps you to see maybe some areas that you can see in yourself that is creating fear, which in turn is, you know, stifling your success because it's stopping you from moving forward. I would love, love, love to hear your thoughts, even if you have to go away after this video and think about them, but please write them in the comments below and just tell me, you know, what you want to work on, what areas that you've found difficult. It might be, you know, negative talk, or, you know, you've got team members that are challenging. Whatever it is, please write it down, because we're all going through the same things and we're all trying to find our way for our own success. And that's the other thing, is what is success to each one of us. It's all different. And the outcome is very different to each one of us. I absolutely agree, Maria. Humility is a big thing, but I think sometimes we can put a lot of pressure on ourselves, particularly as we grow a team and the team looks to us to know the answers and to understand everything. But sometimes we don't understand everything and we don't know how to handle everything, but being able to admit that is a really good thing as well. So thank you very much for joining me. Can't wait to hear from you all. Please share my video, and thank you for joining me each week. Next week, my topic, I will get to my beautiful diary here. The next week's topic that I had written down is a business talk about growth and profitability. So we've been talking a bit about, you know, personal conflict and, you know, what is helping us, but ultimately we want to also make some money out of Stampin' Up, and we want to see that this is something that can bring in an income. So I will talk to you about that next week, and different tips that I have had help me along the way. It changes from when you begin to when you grow a team, but it's good to start seeing something coming in, because those little things will definitely help you to keep going. So thank you for joining me, and please, love to hear from you all, and I'll definitely get to your comments as soon as I can. And if you have questions, I'd love to reply to them. Just pop them in the comments below. So have a great afternoon, everyone. Bye.